And I want to welcome in now Osamah Khalil. He is the chair of the International Relations Program and professor of history at Syracuse University's Maxwell School. Osamah, thanks so much for being with us. Let's talk a little bit about this. Why is it that Prime Minister Netanyahu thinks that a military takeover of Gaza City is the key here?
Well, this is unfortunately very consistent with what Netanyahu has done over 22 months, which is a shifting rationale. Every time we've come close to a permanent ceasefire, he's come up with some new reason to basically impede it and therefore maintain his stay in office and continued pressure. Part of this is an attempt, quite frankly, to expel the 2 million Palestinians from Gaza, to annex Gaza as part of a broader attempt to annex the West Bank as well. We've seen Netanyahu, the war has stretched to Syria, to Lebanon, and now again returning to Gaza and Gaza City. This has been ongoing for 22 months, and unless the United States finally puts a halt to it, Netanyahu will continue to do anything to stay in power.
Still, though, this does represent somewhat of a policy shift when it comes to Netanyahu's willingness to engage in post-war planning. How do you anticipate that Arab governments will respond to that?
Well, I don't think that what we're going to see is part of this is delusional, quite frankly. This idea that an Arab force is going to be inserted into Gaza to run Gaza post-war is a fantasy. But it was a fantasy that was first presented by Netanyahu and the Biden administration. None of the Arab governments signed on to it. And we continue to hear it. It's unfortunate that the Trump administration hasn't put a stop to this. This was a failed policy under President Biden. It was a failed attempt, again, to expel Palestinians from Gaza. We've seen large-scale suffering, and what leading human rights organizations have termed, including Israeli human rights organizations, it's important to remember, have termed a genocide, that this meets a definition of a genocide. We have famine, we have large-scale deaths, and even more deaths coming. So to call this post-war planning, this is not post-war planning. This is a continuation of Netanyahu's war. This is what experts like I and many others have warned about for 22 months. All of this was about expanding, annexing Gaza and the West Bank and expelling Palestinians. So what we've seen is this steady drive. If you remember, the initial invasion of Gaza some 22 months ago in October, November of 2023 was into northern Gaza and Gaza City. And what Netanyahu said is, well, that's where Hamas is based. And then he said, no, they're based in central Gaza. And then he said, no, they're based in southern Gaza. So now we've seen a return to this. Now we're going back to Gaza City. It's important for your viewers to understand. You're talking about roughly 400,000 to a million Palestinians who live in Gaza City in northern Gaza. There is nowhere for them to go. 70% of Gaza's infrastructure has been destroyed by Israeli bombing. In fact, most of it is unusable, as some of your videos already show. You have, again, wide-scale disease, famine, and an ongoing genocide that needs to be stopped.
Osamah Khalil, thank you very much for being with us. We really appreciate your insight.